experiencing rest in the midst of activity. Right now, you only know activity, you don't know rest. But when you know yourself as rest and you're continually knowing yourself as rest, like right now, it looks like I'm speaking to you, but I'm resting. There's a rest that this conversation is appearing in. That this activity of speaking is arising out of rest. It's dissolving back into rest. That rest is experiencing this activity of speaking right now. Right? It's the same for you though. It's the same. You're the same rest. There's only one rest. Because right now you're listening to these words, but that which is listening to the words, that which is experiencing these words, notice how it's at rest. Notice how these words are coming out of the mouth and they're flowing. There's an activity. There's a movement. But notice how that which is aware of these words is actually not moving at all. Now, are you aware of that awareness? Are you aware of that rest right now? Yes or no?
Yeah. Wasn't before, I don't think.
Now that I pointed out though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is just the reminder that's saying, hey, there's a rest. There's rest here. And notice how you're like, shit, it's been here, but I wouldn't have noticed unless you pointed at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all I'm ever doing. Now just check, isn't it you that's resting?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't you that which is resting?
Yeah.
And the more you're aware of that rest, watch how you feel more rested right now. Just be aware of the rest. As I'm speaking, notice how you are the rest, that is aware of the speaking activity. You are the rest that is aware of the speaking activity. I will continue speaking. This is an activity. It's a movement. And you are the rest that is not moving. You are the rest that is not active. You are the rest that is aware of the activity. This activity of speaking and hearing is actually appearing in you, the rest. Check. Speaking and listening is an activity. And it's appearing in the rest that you are. And you are that rest. It's only rest that's aware of rest. The activity can't be aware of rest. Now, did you notice that when you were aware of the rest, you felt more restful?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, what does that feel like if you're aware of that rest while driving, while eating dinner, while doing house chores, while going to work? Wouldn't you feel restful? You
I
would.
would think so, yeah.
Yeah. That's meditation. Notice how when you're aware of the rest, like right now, you're continually being aware of the rest. Notice how there's rest. There's no problems plus rest. There's this rest. There's no problems for rest. It's like when you're sleeping in deep sleep, you're not experiencing problems in deep sleep. You're experiencing rest. It's the same experience. So see, Christine, when you're experiencing that rest more so throughout the day, you just feel more restful. You feel more energetic because you're resting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that was good. That's good. Like you just saw that it's like, yeah, there is a rest here. Huh. Notice how I didn't give it to you. Notice how it didn't come from anywhere. You just realized it, right? I just pointed. I said, hey, just notice the rest is here. And you're like, what rest? Oh, oh yeah. And I said, well, just notice how you feel more restful now that you're aware of the rest. And you go, that is true. Right? Was it like that, or am I putting words in your mouth?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Something obscures it, right? And it's like
It's
you
just the
point it
act.
out, and
What is it that
it's
obscures it?
it's the
Check this
activity
out.
of the
Wasn't it
mind.
this? There's just the conversation, which was the activity, a fluctuation, a movement.
Mm, yeah.
And attention was just going to that only.
Hmm.
Attention just beaming at this activity. And then I just said, hey, but just notice over here, it's still. Just notice that rest over there. And you're like, what rest? And I said, just over there. And you're like, oh, oh, yeah, I'm noticing the rest. I'm feeling more restful. This activity is still continuing, but the rest is being experienced in the midst of the activity. See how I was continuing to speak, you're continuing to listen, but you were experiencing the rest at the same time, right?
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
wasn't one or the other. It's not rest or activity. You were actually experiencing both. This is the paradox of the mind. The mind can't experience it. It's not one or the other. It's both simultaneously. That's what I call effortless effort. It looks like there's effort coming to this meeting, speaking to you, but it's effortless. It's effortless because this effort is coming out of rest. It's actually made of rest. This activity is made of rest. But that's all it is. That's all it is. Now, if it helps you, if just having that reminder, like you just said, oh, thanks for the reminder. I wouldn't have noticed the rest unless you said, unless you pointed at it, unless you just said, hey, notice the rest. Then I don't know, like for just for the hell of it, why don't you set an alarm on your phone that just goes off 4 times a day, different intervals, that just says rest, and that just cues you to notice the rest. Why don't you just
Yeah.
tee it up like when I'm brushing my teeth, that's the activity, but I'm also noticing the rest. Brushing my teeth is an activity that's happening in rest. When I'm
Yeah.
eating my dinner in rest. You just know, pair it up. Either set an alarm or pair it up with 3 activities that you already are doing that are very like, you know, easy activities. They're not like life and death activities. You're not driving a car or anything like that, but just see that, because what you're doing is then you're not just waiting once a week for me to point to you. You're now learning to basically find yourself on your own, if like sort of say,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess I'll try that because it seems like you have to be aware of the rest to be aware of the rest.
Of course, yeah, of course,
Like, so if you're not, it feels like if you're not, you can't,
yeah, exactly. You
which makes it seem so difficult because it's like
have to be aware of
trying
it.
to,
You just have to be
yeah.
aware of yourself. That's what I'm saying. Look at this. I'm saying you are rest. I've always been saying that what you are is rest. And I just said, well, you are already rest. You're not going to become rest. You're already rest.